This is the story of United Airlines Flight 1722. On the afternoon of December 18th, United Airlines Flight 1722, a Boeing 777-200ER, was set to depart. The flight was scheduled to depart from Kahului Airport and fly across the Pacific Ocean, heading northeast toward the U.S. mainland, with San Francisco International Airport as its destination. The route covered a distance of approximately 24 miles, with an estimated flight time of around 5 hours. The weather in the region was far from ideal, with heavy rain reducing visibility. To make things worse, there were warnings about low-level wind shear. Despite these challenging conditions, United Flight 1722, carrying 281 passengers, and crew was scheduled to depart on time. The captain for the flight was a 55-year-old experienced pilot who had logged over 19,600 flight hours, of which 5,000 were on the Boeing 777, with 300 as pilot in command. For this flight, he was the pilot flying. The first officer, who had previously worked at Hawaiian Airlines, had around 5,300 flight hours. However, he had only 120 hours on the Boeing 777, making him relatively new to both the aircraft and United Airlines.
V1, rotate.
For this flight, he was the pilot monitoring. The pilots arrived. As the aircraft was being prepared for departure, the captain first spoke with the purser, who reported that the earlier descent and arrival into Maui had been turbulent. Meanwhile, the first officer conducted the pre-flight walk-around. The captain briefed the purser on the specifics of the upcoming flight. He told her about the flight details and highlighted that the flight attendants should stay seated during the climb because of the bad weather. As the first officer finished his walk-around, he received a text message from a friend. Just hours earlier, Hawaiian Airlines Flight 35, an Airbus A380 traveling from Phoenix to Honolulu, had encountered severe turbulence during its final approach. The turbulence was so extreme that 36 people required medical attention, including 11 with serious injuries. Among the injured were a 1-year-old child and 3 crew members. This incident showed just how unpredictable the air currents around the Hawaiian Islands were and highlighted the importance of staying alert in such dangerous conditions, concerned the first officer. Quickly texted back to thank his friend for the update, then turned off his phone before entering the cockpit. He immediately shared the information with the captain, ensuring they were aware of the potential for turbulence during their own flight. As the 271 passengers began boarding, the pilots carried out the performance calculations. The Automatic Terminal Information Service, or a TIS, a continuous radio broadcast, providing pilots with up-to-date airport information, was unavailable at the time. This meant the necessary information had to be obtained by contacting the tower. Runway 20 was being used for outgoing flights, and the tower informed them that the winds were reasonably light, coming from a southerly direction at around 10 knots for the performance calculations. The pilots consulted Sabre, an advanced computer system designed to calculate the optimal settings for takeoff and climb, including flap positions and engine power. The system recommended using flaps 20 and derated thrust for departure. Typically, a Boeing 777 takes off with flaps 15. However, the unique demands of this situation, such as the short runway and the wind conditions, required a flaps 20 setting, which is less commonly used for takeoff. The first officer was relatively new to the Boeing 737, and taking off with flaps 20 may have been unfamiliar to him after completing all pre-flight checks in the cockpit. Pilots contacted Maui Tower to request clearance for pushback and engine start. At approximately 2:30 p.m. local time, the aircraft began its pushback. During this time, the crew was informed that the active runway had changed to runway 02. With the pushback completed and the engine started, the captain and first officer reassessed the weather conditions and adjusted their takeoff configuration. For runway 02, they decided to set the flaps to 20 degrees. With maximum thrust for takeoff, marking a change from their original plan of using reduced thrust. This decision was prompted by reports from other pilots of significant low-level wind shear, highlighting the need for a powerful takeoff to ensure a safe climb out of Kahului. After a short taxi, they reached the holding point and were cleared to line up and wait for takeoff clearance. The windshield wipers were set to high, and the weather radar was activated, revealing the severe weather ahead. At 2:49 p.m., the crew received clearance for takeoff. With full takeoff thrust applied, the Boeing 777 accelerated down the runway. The rotation and initial climb proceeded normally, with the first officer retracting the landing gear. However, they soon encountered rapid airspeed fluctuations, with light turbulence intensifying as they climbed. As the aircraft reached the thrust reduction and acceleration altitude, the captain adjusted the pitch slightly to increase speed and called for flaps 5. Yet in the moment's stress, the first officer misheard the command and set flaps 15. This small mistake would soon lead to a series of events that put the flight at risk. After selecting flaps 15, the first officer checked in with Honolulu Control. As the aircraft climbed through 1,400 feet and entered instrument meteorological conditions, they responded with instructions to climb to 16,000 feet. They also advised that moderate to extreme weather conditions were present in all directions and approved any necessary weather deviations. At first, everything seemed normal. The aircraft climbed steadily, and the crew focused on their tasks. But then the captain noticed something unusual. The airspeed was increasing more rapidly than expected, and the maximum operating speed indicator began to move to a lower value than anticipated. Concerned about a possible overspeed condition, the captain immediately reduced engine thrust by overriding the auto throttle. This adjustment caused the engines to decelerate, slightly resulting in a slight downward pitch momentum, which caused the aircraft to pitch forward slightly. Though it continued to climb, the captain's attention now turned to what was happening with the flaps. In his mind, flaps 5 should have been selected, as he had called for them. But since that was not happening, he began to anticipate some kind of flap malfunction. He started checking the engine indicating and crew alerting system to see if any emergency procedures needed to be followed, but there were no alerts, and no chimes had been heard indicating that it couldn't be a flap malfunction. Seconds later, the captain realized what was wrong. The flaps were set to 15, not to 5. He called for flaps 5 again twice, and then looked at the first officer to ensure he was selecting the correct flap setting. But by then the situation had already escalated. The aircraft's pitch was decreasing, and the airspeed continued to rise. The first officer, noticing the rapid increase in airspeed and the changing pitch, asked the captain about the situation, but received no immediate response. Instead, the captain, likely still concerned and focused on the impending flap overspeed condition, asked for flaps 1. The first officer thought it was strange that the captain was pitching forward in response to a high-speed event. However, because of the moderate turbulence, he was unsure if the captain was actually reacting to handling difficulties, wind shear, or if they might even have some sort of instrumentation problem. While the captain was focusing on the flap settings, he failed to notice that the downward pitch motion of the nose had continued. The Boeing 777 no longer correctly configured for its speed, and altitude began to descend rapidly. The descent rate increased to over 8,600 feet per minute, a dangerous rate in any situation, but especially just after takeoff. And having barely gained altitude, the ground proximity warning system, a critical safety system designed to prevent controlled flight into terrain, began issuing its warnings. The system blared over and over. The first officer, recognizing the imminent danger, called out the warnings, now fully understanding the situation. The captain knew he had to act fast to prevent a disaster. Inside the cabin, the passengers were unaware of the technical issues unfolding in the cockpit. They only knew that something was wrong. The aircraft suddenly dropped, and many were thrown against their seatbelts. Panic began to spread as the aircraft continued its descent. In the cockpit, the captain acted fast as they broke through the clouds and found themselves face to face with the ocean. Death stared them in the eyes. The captain pulled back on the control column, initially reducing the thrust slightly, likely to avoid a flap overspeed they were still dealing with, but quickly added maximum thrust. As part of their controlled flight into terrain escape maneuver, he fought to bring the aircraft back under control. the descent finally stopped at just 748 feet above the ocean's surface. The Boeing 777 began to climb again, with the aircraft now pitched up to 23 degrees nose up, reaching a maximum climb rate of 8,680 feet per minute. The warning stopped and the immediate crisis was over, but the experience left the crew and passengers deeply shaken. Among the passengers were individuals who later recounted the terrifying moments. When the aircraft dove towards the ocean, one passenger described seeing nothing but water filling the window, convinced they were about to crash. The screams and panic in the cabin were overwhelming. It wasn't until the captain made an announcement, reassuring everyone that everything was okay again, that a sense of calm slowly returned. From the moment the captain looked away from his primary flight display to investigate the flap issue until the aircraft reached the lowest point of its nose dive, just 748 feet above the ocean. Only about 10 seconds had passed. During those few critical seconds, the Boeing 777, which had initially climbed to around 2,100 feet, saw its descent rate accelerate to over 8,600 feet per minute, bringing the aircraft dangerously close to disaster. Had the crew reacted just a few seconds later, they would likely have crashed into the water. Once the aircraft was on a stable climb, the captain contacted the purser to check the condition of the passengers, crew, and the aircraft. The purser confirmed that everyone was okay and that there was no internal damage, with no injuries reported among passengers or crew and no signs of structural damage. The captain decided to continue the flight to San Francisco. Upon landing in San Francisco, the incident was initially not reported, as there was no damage or injuries. However, the NTSB learned of the event 2 months later and opened an investigation. Unfortunately, by the time the investigation began, the cockpit voice and flight data recorders had been overwritten, which limited the available data. Despite this limitation, the NTSB's investigation revealed several critical factors that contributed to the incident. The primary cause was the miscommunication between the captain and the first officer regarding the flap setting during the initial climb. This miscommunication, combined with the severe weather conditions and the captain's manual control inputs, led to the dangerous descent. In response to the incident, United Airlines immediately took steps to prevent it from happening again. The airline revised its training modules to emphasize the importance of clear communication in the cockpit, especially during critical phases of flight. They also launched an awareness campaign at their training center, focusing on flight path management and adhering to standard operating procedures.
Every aircraft has a story, and some stories change aviation forever. From disasters that shook the world to innovations shaping the skies of tomorrow. Welcome to Joyanyo Aviation, where every second is engineered to make you feel the sky. Here, we dive deep into aviation mysteries, relive the deadliest crashes, uncover the secrets behind legendary flights, and explore the next generation of aircraft that will rewrite history. Because aviation isn't just metal and engines, it's human, it's fragile, it's powerful, and it deserves to be told right. If you love the sky, if you crave the truth behind every headline, if you want documentaries that deliver emotion, detail, and adrenaline, this is your runway. This is your cockpit. This is Joyanyo Aviation. Hit subscribe, and let's take flight. If you're ready for real aviation investigations, you're in the right place. Subscribe and enter the skies where every moment matters.
The world's largest commercial airliner is coming apart in midair. Pilots face an avalanche of warnings. Critical systems are failing. Throughout the gigantic plane, the lives of 440 passengers are at risk. And the crisis quickly escalates from bad to catastrophic. This is the story of Qantas Airways Flight 32, the Airbus A380 Super Jumbo, that suffered one of the most dramatic engine failures in modern aviation history. A flight so severe that veteran investigators would later describe it as a near-perfect storm of mechanical destruction. System failures and cockpit overload. Yet somehow, against extraordinary odds, every person on board survived. On November 4th, 2010, Qantas Flight 32 prepares to depart Singapore Changi Airport for Sydney, Australia. The aircraft is a nearly new Airbus A380-842, registration VHLQA. Proudly named Nancy Bird Walton. At the time, the A380 is the flagship of global aviation. The largest passenger aircraft ever built, 2 full passenger decks, 4 powerful Rolls-Royce Trent 900 engines, advanced fly-by-wire systems. A symbol of engineering confidence. On board are 440 passengers and 29 crew members, including pilots, flight attendants, and operating crew. In the cockpit sits one of Qantas Airways' most experienced teams, led by Captain Richard de Crespigny, First Officer Matt Hicks, Second Officer Mark Johnson, and Check Captain Dave Evans. Their experience will soon be tested beyond imagination. The takeoff is routine. The giant aircraft climbs smoothly into the tropical skies above Singapore. Banking out over Batam Island, Indonesia, passengers settle into their seats. Most expect an uneventful overnight flight to Australia. But only minutes after departure, disaster strikes. As Flight 32 climbs through approximately 7,000 feet, there is a sudden violent bang. The sound is heard across the aircraft. The entire airframe shudders. Some passengers think the plane has collided with another aircraft. Others believe a bomb has exploded. On the left wing, engine number 2, one of the inboard Rolls-Royce Trent 900 engines, has suffered an uncontained failure inside the engine. A turbine disc bursts apart at tremendous speed. Metal fragments blast outward like shrapnel. Unlike a contained engine failure, where debris remains inside the engine casing, this explosion punches through the nacelle and tears into the wing itself. Fragments slice through hydraulic lines, electrical wiring, fuel systems, flight control cables, structural components, and landing gear systems. The Airbus A380 was designed with multiple redundancies, but now, multiple backup systems are being destroyed simultaneously in the cockpit. Warning chimes begin sounding non-stop. The electronic centralized aircraft monitor floods the screens with messages. One after another, then dozens more, then dozens again. More than 50 separate warnings and cautions appear. The crew now faces one of the most complex emergencies ever encountered in commercial aviation. Engine failure, fuel imbalance, hydraulic loss, flight control degradation. Spoiler failures, brake system faults, landing gear abnormalities, electrical faults. Slat and flap damage, performance calculation uncertainty. The pilots must process a mountain of alerts while still flying a crippled 560-ton aircraft. Captain de Crespigny later described the cockpit workload as unlike anything he had ever seen. Passengers seated near the left wing look out in horror. Parts of the engine cowling are missing. The wing is visibly damaged. Smoke trails behind the aircraft. Inside the cabin, some people pray. Others grip armrests in silence. Flight attendants move quickly to reassure passengers while preparing for a possible emergency landing. But the danger is far from over. Fuel continues leaking from damaged systems. The aircraft is heavy with fuel for the long flight to Sydney. Some systems needed to dump fuel are also damaged. The crew wants to return to Singapore, but landing overweight with uncertain braking systems and damaged controls could destroy the aircraft on the runway. They must calculate every move carefully, unlike simpler emergencies with clear checklists. Flight 32's crew confronts cascading failures no checklist fully covers. Every action could worsen another problem. Shut down one system, another may fail. Use fuel transfer. Damaged valves may misbehave. Prepare landing gear. It may not lock properly. Brake too hard after landing. Brakes may overheat or fail. The pilots divide tasks with discipline. One flies the aircraft. One handles radio communications. Others work through pages of checklists. Performance calculations are done repeatedly by hand. The crew circles near Singapore for more than an hour, burning fuel and assessing controllability. Meanwhile, emergency services gather below. Cabin crew begin preparing passengers for a possible crash landing. They brief brace positions. They secure the cabin. They calm frightened travelers. They watch for smoke or fire. Many passengers do not know the full extent of the damage. Some simply sense from the seriousness of the crew that this is no normal emergency. Outside, the disabled A380 continues orbiting as engineers on the ground analyze possibilities. And air traffic control clears space for its return.
Runway is available. Emergency crews are standing by.
Eventually, the crew commits to landing back at Singapore Changi Airport. But even the approach is complicated. Damaged flaps mean higher landing speed. Higher speed means longer stopping distance. Faulty spoilers and brakes reduce margin further. The giant jet descends heavier and faster than normal. Thousands on the ground are unaware that one of the most critical airline emergencies of the decade is unfolding overhead. The A380 crosses the runway threshold and lands firmly. The crew applies braking cautiously, aware that overheating brakes could trigger fire or tire failure. Reverse thrust is limited because one engine is destroyed, and the others must be managed carefully. Slowly, the aircraft decelerates. Then it stops on the runway, but the emergency is not over. One damaged engine cannot be shut down normally. It continues running. Fuel leaks remain a concern. Fire crews surround the aircraft. Passengers wait on board as engineers and pilots work through shutdown procedures. Only after the remaining risks are reduced can evacuation stairs be brought in. Emergency slides are avoided because they could injure passengers unnecessarily if a rapid evacuation is not required. Eventually, passengers begin disembarking by stairs onto the runway. Many kiss the ground, others applaud the crew, some are in tears. Every one of the 469 people on board survives. Investigators from the Australian Transport Safety Bureau, assisted by Singapore authorities, Airbus, Rolls-Royce, and multiple agencies, launch a major investigation. They trace the disaster to a manufacturing defect inside the Rolls-Royce Trent 900 engine. A mismachined oil feed pipe caused fatigue cracking. Oil leaked into hot engine areas, leading to an internal fire and catastrophic turbine disc failure. That single defect triggered the chain reaction that nearly destroyed the aircraft. Qantas Flight 32 became famous, not only because an Airbus A380 suffered a massive engine explosion, but because of how the crew responded. Aviation experts praised exceptional crew resource management, calm decision-making under overload, strong cockpit teamwork, cabin crew professionalism,